Twin Cities Oxygen. Sometimes I know just what to say, but don't know how to say it. My age is later, where you relive all your trauma daily. Maybe it's just me because my life is hard. I'm on the pavement, pushing every day about my way until I make it great. There's something about fate progression, taking every lesson without question. It's a blessing and a curse because it hurts a lot of feelings in the process of this evolution. All these influences are just another bad influence. There's something new happening with this, and we're all witnesses to it. The position is shifting, we'll never go back to the way we live. Giving the situation a proper perspective, let's be reflective and never forget who taught us these lessons. It's time for Generation X while we regenerate the best of what we have, because the clock is running down with every second ticking. We live in an age of subscriptions, haters and politicians making us victims while we all struggle as citizens in the midst of this chaos. Everybody told they too old, too old, too old. Everybody told me too old, too old, too old. Everybody told they too old. Everybody told me too old. Everybody told that they're way too old. Now enough for the ages, I'm left like a play. We've been doing music every day, and when I hit the stage, it's a whole new ball game. Bow to the greats when the sound of the bass gets you right to the chest plate. The best game, making music on a regular basis. They can try and take a sound, but they can never replace it. You need a face it, cause it's hard to shake. They'll take you to another level. We'll never make it. Time to break yourself and to take more care of the music we make in your mental health. Yo, a clear path when you ride the wave. Step aside, the universal light your brain. You can see through the rain when you ride that train. There ain't no getting off in the middle of the runway. One way ticket to an early grave. We'll have the pre-sold tickets sold out on opening day. Time to make your choice. Time to raise your voice. Time to give them what you got. It's time to tell your story. Time to raise your voice. Time to make your choice. Time to give them what you got. It's time to give them what you got. You can see everything through the darkness. You can see everything through the darkness. How's it going, everybody? Now, you guys will remember this song from such times as back in the day. Let me give everybody the standard introduction here. We got Twin Cities Oxygen, Carbon Vibes, George G's. Welcome, my friends. Maybe I'll do it over here. This one's a little bit more obnoxious. Twin Cities vibes. What's up, guys? And everybody else who shows up later or whatever. So you guys will remember this song. It's been a part of the content here over the past year, and it was just. We could go ahead and see how long it has been here, because I did a video on it when we did the vocals in the studio. So that was some time ago. I think that was more than a year ago that we did that. So it's been a minute. I mean, we've obviously been working on other stuff. Let's see, it was first studio session in X amount of years. I forget what the thumbnail looked like. You guys remember? It was after all this stuff. I passed it, didn't I? Let's see. Compressor, cooking, Logic Pro, blah, 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 blah. Where's the thing in the studio time? Oh, you know what? I may have made it members only. So, well, you know, it'd show members only. See, it shows this one over here. When the hell was that? It's before the hip hop. Anyways, so it's been a minute, you know, since working on this song. Is it Studio Logic Pro? I thought it was before all this. Man, we've done so much here on this channel. It's ridiculous. Ah, well, we'll find it later. If we even have it anywhere. Okay, so let me collapse this a little bit more so you guys could see it a little better. So obviously you guys could tell the problem areas here, working this around, is the are the snares over here. I don't have anything in the beginning because this part over here is going to be a cappella. And let me see here. Let's throw this back on here. How's everybody doing? Sounds huge. Yeah. Appreciate you. So this was originally going to be the single, and it's kind of like the first song that we did for the Hip Hop Dead album, but this is going to be the closer. And with this, Champ Flexington did the guitar on it, and I've kind of been back and forth with this because I made this beat on the Roland Fantom, and you know, since getting rid of it, you know, we've done quite a bit of upgrades here in the studio as far as production goes. I've always been happy with how dynamic this song is, or how it's turning out to be. We took this song and we went to the local recording studio over here. We did content on it and everything. I took the vocals that I did over there on a I did the singing part on the Gold Manley. It's like a $5,000 microphone, and then the rap part on the SM7B. So I took those vocals back here to mix, and it was before getting Logic Pro and doing all this stuff, and I really was doing it first in Reaper, and then I brought it all here and did it over here, and decided that I'm going to repurpose this with some of it, and the good thing is most of it worked out okay. The biggest thing was the snare. I had to change the snare. Now, it doesn't sound too bad on the hip-hop part of it, and I realized that, you know, it wasn't really the snare that I had a problem with. It was really the hats, you know, that I wasn't digging. So I started going through and doing some manipulation to it, and that's where I created the we did the new favorite plugin. And I can show you that, because that I'll show you real quick where that is. Let's see. Yeah, new favorite plugin right here. This one right here. So the example on here was going through all of it and showing that I threw the Arturia Motions on top of this one. Let's see, I'll dig for this again. Maybe it's just my old blind ass can't find it. God, shout out to everybody for Fridays being such a big day for streaming. Our friend Paulo Hanzo is out streaming right now. I think Sarah Tuel still streaming. I was on her stream just now. Curtis King is streaming, and you know, Panda just did a set. So yeah, that's the main goal here. I'm just gonna kind of mess with this a little bit. I have the EA Ski drums loaded up in the in Logic Pro now, so I could just put them over. And I'm just gonna. I was trying to work it with the EQ and everything, but I'm just gonna change the snare or do something with it. It's just the second half or the third act, really. You know, the second half of it. It's just this little part here in the tail end of it. This section over here. So these hats need to, I don't know if I want to replace them or whatever. I had them mixed with these ones over here. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to try to get something better going with this transition over here, because the second act, which would be the second verse, actually, it's just weird because this is a really dynamic track. There's a lot of change ups in it. This hip hop, it's like super clean versus this part. I'll just go through the half and show you guys some of the difference here. But on the, what was it? It was the synth bass, I think I want to say. Here it is right here. Oops. I turned it off. I put this motions on it. Here, I'll show you guys the difference here. And as usual here, you know, you get better audio quality if I shut the hell up. So instead of explaining it to you and having you guys have a lower quality audio, I'll give you guys a higher quality audio, and then I'll explain things to you on the back end. And you'll have to forgive me for my improper lighting over here. Hey, at least there's a cool background, so you can't see my face, so motherfucker. All right, hold on. Sometimes I know just what to say, but don't know how to say it. My age is later, where you relive all your trauma daily. Maybe it's just me, because I'm on the pavement, pushing every day until I make it great. There's something about fate progression, taking every lesson without question. It's a blessing and a curse, because it hurts a lot of feelings in the process of this evolution. All these Generation X, while we regenerate the best of what we have, because the clock is running down with every second ticking. We live in an age of subscriptions, haters and politicians making us victims, while we all struggle as citizens in the midst of this chaos. Witnesses to it, the position. You can see everything, but go back to the way we live. You can see everything through the darkness. You can see everything through the darkness. You can see everything through the darkness. Sometimes I know just what to say, but don't know how to say it. My age is later, where you relive all your trauma daily. Maybe it's just me, because my life is hard. I'm on the pavement, pushing every day about my way until I make it great. There's something about fate progression, taking every lesson without question. It's a blessing and a curse, because it hurts a lot of feelings in the process of this evolution. All these influences are just another bad influence. There's something new happening with this, and we're all witnesses to it. The position is shifting, we'll never go back to the way we live. Giving this the situation a proper perspective. Let's be reflective and never forget who taught us these lessons. Taught us these lessons. Generation X. You can see everything to the top. So you can tell the difference there in the dynamics between the second and third act, because the transition going from the first half to the second half is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But just sonically speaking, there is a difference, and it's just because of that dropout, it's noticeable. And I have everything tightened up. It's just the difference is because my lead vocal in the second half is rapping, and I'm going from that to the chorus. And the chorus, while it's there, is technically more of a scratch. I mean, that's not the end result chorus. You know, I still have another lead in it. Bass sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, that was kind of a rough one, because what I did was I took it out of the Fantom production. What I did was I took this track, I made this beat during a live stream, and then and it was on the Fantom. It was 100% on the Fantom. I stemmed it out, and then I took the pieces, and then I dissected them, and then I replaced a few elements here and there, but not the entire thing, because I'm happy with the production that goes with the song. It's just I'm trying to fit three very different pieces in with one another and make it one cohesive unit for a song. And the reason why there's so many adjustments and change ups and everything like that on this, and the reason why it's such a dynamic song, is because it's the closer on the album. That's why there's so many differences. That's the reason for the guitar, the dropout, the reason why we're starting out with spoken word, going with hip hop, doing the little rap verse in the second one, and then doing something completely extra, which is more of like, it's basically kind of showcasing the evolution of like what my style has become, you know, just going from a, methodical, intellectual type, bar heavy, a cappella, to a very real and, heartfelt, whatever, just rap, what I'm normally used to, and then going into like a more upbeat and what I'm used to with the faster rapping and the more what I'm talking to or whatever. Go ahead, get some food for the family. Sounds like an interesting track. Yeah, I appreciate your carbon vibes for sure. Yeah, as always. Have fun with the family for sure. And yeah. So, and the thing is that because there's the difference in the third act between the beginning and it would just be that third act there, because technically this third act is the chorus and the verse in the chorus. Like, this whole thing is the third act. So this chorus doesn't belong to like a 1-2 format or whatever. It's not a 2, it's a 3, if that makes any sense to you guys out there. So basically, while the chorus has to match the other chorus, sure, the big difference though is that there's a big change in the song. Once those dynamics change, it needs to bounce up. Now, what I was thinking about doing over here, and I'm just going to give you guys the degraded quality audio for a second here, just so I could talk to you guys. So hold on one second. This right here, this dropout, so check it out. Haters and politicians making us victims while we all struggle as citizens in the midst of this chaos. Now, if I give more time there and say stretch these out a little bit on let me go over here. Like if I stretch these out and put another couple spaces here, it'll give me room for a sample. You know, if not a sample, not like a sample out there that I would have to clear, but like sampling dialogue or something, like movie dialogue, or something of my own creation. You know, I could just say something or have something in there that is a part of the song, and then reintroduce that, you know, as the transition. But the question is, if I were to do that now, what would I, if I were to do the last thing I just mentioned, pull a piece from a different part of it and then insert it in this dropout right here, what would I say? What if I'm going to take a piece of the song, which piece would it be? And if I were going to make something on my own and do something on my own, what would it say? What would it be? Hey, you don't have to keep quiet about your coughing there, son. The audience doesn't care, and if they did care, I would find that very strange. But it's fine. You could cough. Don't worry about it, son. Cough away. Just don't come up to the mic or on my face and be like, "Bleh, bleh." Sorry, guys. Kid's over here with a half cold, trying to keep it down for his old man. Because he knows there'll be hell to pay. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's do a go around and listen to it real quick and see if we're going to take, because now, you know, keeping in mind of if we're going to take a piece, which piece would it be? So we're going to try to make that decision here. And then on top of that, also be, you know, getting the gears turning on whether or not we're going to create something ourselves or just sample something from like a movie or something. But then there's clearances, you know, even if you do something basic. But the trick is here is that you could say something that was in a movie if you feel that it's a dope line and just kind of borrow that line and say it yourself, especially me when I got this low voice. So I could do something with it. There's just always that throat closing over there in the back. You guys hear it. I'm going to embrace it. It's a part of me. Okay, see you guys on the other side. Sometimes I know just what to say, but don't know how to say it. My age is later, where you relive all your trauma daily. Maybe it's just me because my life is hard. I'm on the pavement, pushing every day about my way until I make it great. There's something about fate progression, taking every lesson without question. It's a blessing and a curse because it hurts a lot of feelings in the process of this evolution. All these influences are just another bad influence. There's something new happening with this, and we're all witnesses to it. The position is shifting. We'll never go back to the way we live. Giving the situation a proper perspective. Let's be reflective and never forget who taught us these lessons. It's time for Generation X while we regenerate the best of what we have, because the clock is running down with every second ticking. We live in an age of subscriptions, haters and politicians making us victims while we all struggle as citizens in the midst of this chaos. Down with every second ticking. We live in an age of subscriptions, haters and politicians making us victims while we all struggle as citizens in the midst of this chaos. You can see everything through the darkness. Okay, so I couldn't think. No, this is Logic Pro. I couldn't think of anything I want to use out of that verse to do it. It just wouldn't fit going into a chorus. However, giving it that extra space, and doubling down on the space and keeping that extra, that worked out here. So doing that and having the extra space, already it sounds better having that in. But knowing already, just doing that I don't want to use anything from that verse to put in there. Maybe something from the spoken word portion, but I don't have that written. I don't know that I'm going to write that. I think I'm going to leave that to a female spoken word artist. I was going to leave it for a vocalist, but I decided after a little bit that spoken word would be a little bit better to start it. So that decision is made here. So what I need to do is either come up with something clever to fill in that space, or find something that I want to sample that kind of goes with this whole thing. Or maybe get Little Tussin to say something. But it's got to be like heartfelt. It's got to be something that like goes with it. It can't be jokey is what I'm saying. So we'll see. So for now, let's just go to the front of this real quick and mess with this guitar of Champ Flexington over here, aka the Champ, aka Chicano. And so what I did with his on the guitar part is Avalon, what I was messing with at the beginning of this session. So I have mostly the things dialed in here. I just may just dial it in a little bit more here, just a little bit. It's only going to take a few minutes. And then I want to just make my decisions here as far as like going forward with this track. And I want to, after we're done going through this, and deciding what we're going to do on the snares, hopefully we'll be able to, dig in deeper on this one. But after this one, we're going to go to the JRC collab, and I'm going to explain the mastering techniques that we used on that, because there have been a lot of questions about it, and I'm putting together a video for mastering and all that. But instead, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it from here and just clip this live stream and do it that way, because it's easier for me to speak knowing that there's somebody on the other end, whether or not there's people in the chat. I'm just one of those people. I do a lot better with live content than scripted content. Even though my scripted content's on point, it just takes so much time and effort out of the music, and then the editing part of it. So that's why everything is long form on the channel. And now, as we run into this year and we're taking a break from our normal schedule, this is it. We're just going to be grinding away at this music thing, whether it be stuff for the album, the singles, and all that other stuff. We're just going to be cranking away. So this music here is the content. And, I'll still do things as they come along, as we upgrade our tools, and, if we get any cool synthesizers, we're definitely gonna check them out or whatever. But like, we got deadlines, we got work to do. We're trying to wrap this up for the spring season, which is, technically the beginning of our year as musicians. So tall glass for me, and good sonics for you. So I'll see you on the other side here, folks. say but don't know how to say it. My age is later where you relive all your trauma daily. Maybe it's just me because my life is hard. I'm on the pavement pushing every day about my way until I make it great. There's something about fate progression, taking every lesson without question. It's a blessing and a curse because it hurts feelings in the process of this evolution. All these influences are just another bad influence. There's something new and with this, and we're all witnesses to it. The position is shifting, we'll never go back to the way we live. Giving the situation a perspective, let's be collective and never forget who taught us these lessons. It's time for Generation X while we regenerate the best of what we have, because the clock is running down with every second ticking. We live in an age of subscriptions, haters and politicians making us victims while we all struggle as citizens in the midst of this chaos. I am one son. Welcome. Yeah, Jonathan R. Cross. We did that Popcorn Jam, the Team Popcorn Jam thing, the Eyelids track. That was he and I collaborating on the whole thing. Lucky for us, with our schedules and everything like that, and being separated by so much space between the two of us on this planet. I already had the idea from, Lamar and his, I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids. I forgot I didn't have this light on. Maybe that'll help with my face. Let's see here. Go on. Good. Okay. Maybe that'll help a little bit with the glowy. So, yeah. We'll get to that in a second. Now let's fix these snares. Already, even with that space, just inserting that extra piece with that gap, it just gives a lot of space to say something. Even if it's just a quick affirmation or something. Just something wedged between there to bridge the verse and the chorus, because the bridge of the verse doesn't bridge to the chorus because there's that dropout. But I gotta tell you, without that dropout, shit's weak. It's not weak. It's just, you come up with these ideas and there's no turning back, because it's better. It's better with the drop. But the downside to adding this drop in and creating this space between these two, most of them it was because going from a rap verse to a singing chorus, and then, what we do after that. But it's fine. It's fine. It sounds so much better with the gap. Now we have to do extra work, which is fine. We're fine with the extra work, because as long as it sounds the way it sounds in the end, who cares how much time it takes, what kind of work you got to do. If it takes 20 hours, 40 hours, a million years, whatever it takes to make that magic happen. And this is
the longest and most time and effort we put into a song in a very, very long time, especially like a solo track, essentially, other than, Champ Flexington playing his guitar on it, But that's the thing, it's not a solo track, I still need a female vocalist for the front, so I kind of been taking my time with this, but now there's no more time to take. I need to get through this, not get through it, but, we need to wrap this up, so we could, get it out to a female vocalist to do the acapella on the front, or the spoken word on the front, but let's fix up these snares because what I did here, the reason why they sound the way that they do is because I just used the same snare that I inserted because I was going to change up all of these drums and just take them out completely. Just completely take out the element of the Fantom out of this production because I made this at a time to where, not only was the Fantom not as good as it is now, but like my production, it still was okay, but like it was fine. It's just the tools that we have now to make it sound better, are just so much more. And so we've been doing a lot of moving around with this track. So let's get these snares cleaned up, and then I'll go over the master to the JRC collab.
another record play. We've been doing music every day, and when I hit the stage, it's a whole new ball game. Bow to the greats when the sound of the bass gets you right in the chest plate. The best day, making music on a regular basis. They can try to your sound, but they can never replace it. You need to face it, cause it's hard to shake it. Take it to another level, make it time to break yourself and to take more care of the music we make in your mental health. Yo, a clear path when you ride the wave. Step aside, the universe will light your brain. You can see through the rain when you ride that train. There ain't no getting off in the middle of the runway. One way ticket to an early grave. We'll have the pre-sold tickets sold out on opening day. Too cold. No getting off in the middle of the runway. One way ticket to an early grave. We'll have the pre-sold tickets sold out on opening day. No getting off in the middle of the runway. One way ticket to an early grave. We'll have the pre-sold tickets sold out on opening day. There ain't no getting off in the middle of the runway. One way ticket to an early grave. We'll have the pre-sold tickets sold out on opening day.
So that wasn't too bad. All right. So it's a little bit better, you know. It's actually a pretty good improvement. I'm gonna have to do some touch-ups to it. But hey, mission accomplished. So you can see the difference of what I'm looking for. Now, in the end part, the reason why I was going through those two drums, because you could tell at the end, doom, 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 doom. Like I have to adjust those snares to go with it. But, you know, overall, you know, it's, like I said, I had some pretty specific goals in mind here with this. Let me see if this tail end, because I don't want to delete this yet. You know, I still may have room for you yet. Especially because, ooh, yeah, that would be a bad thing to delete that over there. So let me duplicate this just in case, and take these down here and do it that way. That way I could leave these unmuted and keep them go. So let's try real quick. Data. That's not what I'm plugging. Hey, yo, keep in mind here, yo, don't let what I'm doing over here discourage you. What's up? Just looking at me. Yeah, for sure. So, keep in mind here, you know, I've been doing this for 30 years and, you know, got a whole degree in audio production and everything like that. So don't worry about me. I'm over here in just this weird lane. You know, don't let it discourage you, you know. I've been doing this for a really long time. So anyways, yeah, let me get this going, get a tall glass and listen to it, maybe do some audio adjustments or whatever. But yeah, that Avalon is clutch. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the difference that the Avalon makes both on the guitar and my lead vocals, but like it's everything, you know. And it's crazy because like, okay, it doesn't sound like the hardware, you know. Obviously the hardware is going to be warmer, you know, it's going to have characteristics, but they modeled it really, really close, like really close. When I want that Avalon sound to whatever I'm working on, the plugin does just fine. And it better do just fine because the hardware is 10 grand, you know? I mean, this is the thing, you know? People, especially people in the industry, dog on plugins and are like, oh, well, you know, it'll never be replicated the same way as, you know, the hardware. Well, of course not, you know, but that's not the question here. The question is the software better than not using anything? Is the software better than using whatever EQ or whatever other VST that you would normally be using in the project? So, you know, the question isn't, do they match the hardware? Do they model the hardware? You know, while that is a factor of it, you know, plugins will never replace the hardware. But who's got $10,000 laying around for a preamp? You know, A few people do, but most people don't. You know, that Avalon, is a really good, solid tube preamp. It's great on vocals. It's great on guitar. What else? I've used it on. I've used it on synth. I've used it on bass, and I'm not talking about the software. I've used this hardware before, like, and I have experience in people that have used it. Like, I've mixed with people using this hardware before. The hardware is great, and of course, the plugin will never, it'll never replace the hardware. The plugin will never be able to do that, but is it a choice between the plugin, and paying $10,000 for the hardware? Well, yeah, And it's also like, do you wait to come up with the 10 grand to buy the hardware, or can you get away with using the plugin as icing on the cake rather instead of using it as your main preamp? Keep in mind, these vocals that I'm mixing here were recorded on a $5,000 microphone in the recording studio. So throwing an Avalon, universal audio plugin on top of that is definitely great. But as far as home studios go, if I didn't record that at the studio and I recorded it here, would it be better than not using anything? And the answer to that's of course it would be. These plugins don't match up. They're not as good or whatever as using the hardware. Sure, but that's not the argument here. The argument here is, does it make your project, does it make your song, does it make the music, does it make the sonics sound better? And the answer is yes, every time, because they have modeled it so close to where you pay however much the plugin's on sale for, whatever full price is, and you get a somewhat accurate representation of the dynamic range of the hardware, and yes, it does not compare, even though you could compare them. So the argument that people are having is the wrong argument to have. The real argument here is it better or worse than using whatever you were going to use or not use beforehand? If I were to record from home and just do something over here vocal wise, yes, I have a mic pre. The mic pre's over here in the Yamaha, so it runs through analog. I got the parametric EQ, which is just the micro dialing in, of everything. And then, but that whole analog mixer is running through the SSL. So there's already processing to be had. Now, these two things combined, it's debatable, and you could have the argument on whether or not, it's better to just have the onboard gear versus having the interface. But this interface has 4K transformers in it. It ain't no bullshit. So and I was looking at a Heritage Audio interface today. It's like $1,000, and I'm like, God, these interfaces are starting to be colored with the technology that makes the sonics, gives the sonics a boost. Now the 4K transformers sound great. They're very crisp. They're nice. They give a nice range to it. But the highs are really high, and there's adjustments that you can't make. It's just a push of the button. Different structure, different folks. Yeah. Going through most personal growth. I'd like to share eventually, but wow, don't be surprised if I take a break from tube. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry to hear about that. Yeah, it does get intense for sure. And there's a lot of elements in being on here. The thick skin you got to have to be on this platform, and then in addition to that, the average scrutiny that you get as a musician is like times 100 on this platform, and if you're not used to dealing with that kind of thing, it's definitely problematic. But even if you are used to dealing with that thing, it's a whole new realm to experience. It took a couple of years to get our stuff together over here, and a lot of that was had to do with dialing things in and making sure whatever sound is coming in on this side is represented on the outside. And it's already problematic because YouTube has their own compressors and limiters and stuff like that. However, it's not that problematic if you got things dialed in on this side. So it just takes a little bit, especially if you're using hardware. Damn, that's a lot of moolah. Yeah. Yeah. The ear to hear the difference is definitely the important thing. The first recording studio that I recorded at, it was a hole in the wall in a strip mall. To put it in perspective, there was a checks cashing place and a tattoo shop and a head shop next door. So like it was just and it was downtown Glendale. Right next to downtown Glendale, Arizona. So, pretty run down. And it was only $35 a month to record there. So it was like dirt cheap. But they had things dialed in to a point. And even though some of the things on there, like I recorded, my album, this one over here. I recorded this album here using the Rode NT1A in that studio. But because the room was so solid and soundproof, and it was so great the way that they had the setup there, that NT1A it sounded like a TLM 103. I mean, not exactly, but I mean it was really. I mean, people like us could decipher the difference, but the general public out there wouldn't be able to tell the difference at all. My new honey was fun to find. Got my MPC's effects, new PV effects loop. All right, my trusty Studio 112. It's not this what's happening with the amount of ideas, capacity ratio, live 2. Oh, yeah, dope. Dope. Yeah, it's all about getting what works for you, and not listening to people trying to tell you what your journey is. I know that we're kind of veering off course here, having the conversation, but that's why I went live, so I could relax and do all this. But yeah, get your own stuff, and whatever works for you, um, whatever sounds good in the end, to you, because what sounds good to you might not sound good. I mean, the thing is, sonically speaking, there are thresholds, and you can't cheat your dynamics. I guess is what I would say here. And a lot of times, you don't you grow up in this business, and especially if you're doing stuff at home as a hobby and stuff like that, it takes a while to understand, like, oh crap, sonics make a difference. It's not that we're all out here producing totally inconsiderate of sonics. It's just the difference between having outboard gear and not, and opening up your ears and that dynamic range to sonically hear things that you didn't hear before because you were just, producing in the box, or haven't been to a recording studio to hear what the outboard gear sounds like. So once you discover the sonic palette that you would like to have, you got to find out how much cost is associated with that. And, if it's a pretty penny, you can't just sit there and not do music that whole time while you're trying to save up money for this SSL board or this 500 series or whatever you're trying to save up for, or whatever you're trying to get out here. You know, the trick is just trying to make it sound the best that you can with what you have, and you could do a lot with very little. If you see here, the stuff that I've been using on here, all these EQs, I have all the T-Rack stuff. The I have Universal Audio EQs. I have all the Arturia stuff. I have a lot of EQ options, and I'm over here using a in just the stock equalizer here in the in Logic, because You know, EQ is EQ, and the general dynamics of this DAW is the important part, and just using, you know, whatever it has available. You know, I'm just doing minor adjustments here because, like, my beats are there. You know, I can make them sound sonically where they need to, and this song's all a part of that development. You know, producing this on the Phantom, even though I had it sounding the way that it did at the time, I got it sounding way better a year later, and then got rid of it after that. So going back to the sonics and trying to readjust them after the fact is definitely a chore, but you can do it. And I'm doing it over here with the EA ski drums. Shout out to the homie, because, like, yeah, you know, reworking all of these, and I'm not putting anything in it but a new snare. So yeah, back to work here. But yeah, after this, I'm going to close this out and run you guys through the master of the JRC project. So yeah, no problem. Time feedback, as you know. Yeah. Don't hesitate to jump back. Yeah, no. The reason why we go live and do this is because, you know, there are a lot of people that know how to mix and master who are on this platform that choose not to do it. And there's a lot of people on this platform that don't know how to mix and master, and that's why they don't go through it. Mixing and mastering is something also, you know, when it comes to the content here, you know, YouTube's one of those things that long form content only exists and is only helpful to a certain, you know, genre of YouTube. Lucky for us, you know, everybody around here hanging out on this channel, we're all just a bunch of audio nerds. So, like, we love the music, we love to talk about the music, we love to talk about the sonics, everything. So, you know, understanding that there's a lack of content out there and having all of this mixing and mastering that needs to be done and reworking, I just figured that we would do it here in a public way and just take a break from our regular streaming. That way, you know, we just pop up and give you guys the most exposure to this process, because, you know, it is a lost art form. And I say that because and that's one of the reasons why AI mastering is becoming such a thing, you know. But AI mastering, while it could get close and take care of it, there's just, you know, as abstract as people are as human beings, you know, music is kind of the same way. So, you know, having a one size fits all on music when every song is different, produced different, you know, you can't just say, oh, well, this works better for this. There are general principles to operate on, to where you could be like, oh, you push this button, you could make it sound better. But wouldn't it be better to know that yourself, or at least be associated with somebody who knows it themselves, so, like, they could make it sound better than the AI can? I just feel that the AI mastering is going as a step in the wrong direction. I think exposure and you know, and education about mixing and mastering is a lot better, you know, than just throwing some new plugin at it and be like, oh, well, the robot can do it for you. It's like, yeah, well, you know what? The robot ain't got the heart that we got to, you know, to think about this song. And, you know, that is the folly here with AI and all that other stuff. So don't worry about it. You're welcome. It's my pleasure, you know, and there's a reason why we do it this way. I do my best by ear and heart. Yeah. None of those. Yeah, for sure. All right.
to say but don't know how to say it. My age is later where you relive all your trauma daily. Maybe it's just me because my life is hard. I'm on the pavement pushing every day about my way until I make it great. There's something about fate progression, taking every lesson without question. It's a blessing and a curse because it hurts a lot of feelings in the process of this evolution. All these influences are just another bad influence. There's something new happening with this and we're all witnesses to it. The position is shifting, we'll never go back to the way we live. Giving the situation a proper perspective, let's be reflective and never forget who taught us these lessons. It's time for Generation X while we regenerate the best of what we have, because the clock is running down with every second ticking. We live in an age of subscriptions, haters and politicians making us victims while we all struggle as citizens in the midst of this chaos.
Definitely need to work on it. Definitely need to work on the snares over there. So I'll do that off camera because it's going to take a lot of adjusting back and forth. So I'll take those out and do those off camera. The redundancies and stuff that is just like repetitive madness. Because I got the mix down where I want it to be. It's not like a full mix of the whole thing because this is going to somebody else who's going to be doing the whatchamacallit on it. Yeah, look at you. Taro Sellers. Welcome, my friend. Looking good with that badge there, buddy. It's like, oh yeah, Destructo gave you a membership. That's another thing I'm doing here for all the members, for all the new members especially. I'm putting together, members-only content and stuff like that just to kind of get things going. I was already doing it before already. Oh, look at that. EA Ski went live. Look at that. I'm going to have to get up just to see. I've been missing them on, whatchamacallit. Yeah. I'm like, oh, MPC 4000. Yeah. Hopefully I'll see him. I'm not gonna talk on him live. Be like, yo, I'm live right now. Yo, we live, son. Okay. What are you doing with that animal? She don't want me. That cat don't want me, and I don't want that cat. Let's open the recent here and get on this JRC collab. Come on. Two big projects opening up right now while I'm live streaming, so yeah, I got the email blast. I got the email blast, D. I got you. Okay, so you guys almost done? I gotta explain the master here. These guys over here. I give them the clearance to cough, and all of a sudden it's, party time over here while I'm trying to work. What is this madness? No, I'm just kidding. Get on it, folks. So this is the JRC collab, everybody. JRC. Let's get real over here in the field. So you guys may or may not Aaron Barber, but shout out to Aaron Barber. So JRC, here you go, Jonathan R. Cross. So this is our friend. Hold on, let me get out over here. He's good. Hold on, let me live my life on my way out. Hey, I'll be in there in a minute. Even going to. All right. All right. Yep. So this is JRC over here. Jonathan R. Cross. He is across the pond over here from us. Where they're all sleeping at this hour. So, if you guys don't know, by the time watching this and seeing this, go check out the yearly recap over here. Jonathan R. Cross and myself were picked out of a hat and draw names for the Symptoms of Reality Team Jam. And he does. Let's see. Let's go. Well, you see, like this is his last live stream, which was yesterday. I thought it was today. And this is what he does.
To you and say hello, but while
Oh, not when he's talking. This is what he does. I didn't mean to do that. Knock him off the screen. Okay, so look at all his stuff here. So he's got a bit of stuff, He's got the Microfreak over here. Is that the XO over there? He's got the obviously the RC 505 and the Roland, which is the 8S. But you look at the top over here. The man's got a Rhodes. And there's a reason for that. He's a funky jazz sprinkling techno guy, and I say that with all love and respect, Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad to be helpful. Okay, so where are we at? We're over here. So here we are, the JRC collab. So how this started was they did the team jam things and picked everybody's name out of a hat, cool, and we what I'll do is I'll explain it and go through it here, and then we'll listen to it and go through the master part of it. So we kind of had time constraints because of the distance between the two of us, and he live stream regular and I live stream regular. And, so with all of that and, the busyness of what's been going on and stuff, we were getting the ball rolling on the team jam. And we kind of hit each other up at the same time in the Discord. And, I told him, I said, look, my range is anywhere from 60 BPM to 200. So I could go the distance no matter what. But I'm more of a producer, than anything. So, like, I knew that his jazzy hands or whatever he needed, key, whatever he wanted to do in key was fine with me. I could play in any key. So we worked out all that stuff, and so we did the key of C in 132 BPM. He said was a sweet spot, and I was like, okay, cool. So we did the live stream here, and we went through it and put together, the stuff that we wanted to do ourselves as far as the beat goes, but the secret sauce to this magic. The secret sauce to this magic is the samples.
I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids.
So, this is how this thing came about here. So obviously I took this from something that I sampled. So this is how I got my samples. I went to YouTube and I went to my clips that I've made here. And I made a few clips.
Lamar's falling asleep. Lamar,
I'm not falling asleep.
wake up.
I am just observing my eyelids
No.
to make sure they are eyelids.
Sarah suggests someone does a welfare check on Lamont.
Lamar's falling asleep. Lamar,
I'm not falling asleep.
wake up.
I am just observing my eyelids
No.
to make sure they are eyelids.
So as you could tell, I didn't use this sample. Nowhere in the song do you hear him ever say observing his eyelids. Wait, Lamar, you're observing your eyelids? That is some vocabulary there that we did not get in the in the song. So what we did do was we went through the samples and we recorded all of them, because we got. Oh, just give me the clip. Here we go.
I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids.
Look at his face. It was this point. It was for one, when he said observing my eyelids, I almost spit out my coffee. That shit was funny. It just the perfect comedic timing for him to say that. But when he said this, when he sang it,
I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids.
I had to sample that. I knew from that moment. And you know what's funny is because Mozart hit me up. And, we exchanged numbers, after Risky passed, and we spoke over the phone, for like an hour and 45 minutes or something, and I forgot to tell him about this. I forgot to tell him that I had gone through.
I'm not sleeping. I'm just watching my eyelids.
He keeps saying that when he closes his.
So obviously that was the sample that we used in the front end of it. But yeah, I got a lot of these eyelids things over here, That was the second one? Or is that that was the third one, huh? That was this one? Oh,
I'm not sleeping. I'm
Okay.
just.
So we're on eyelids 4. Yeah, we just sampled the eyelids over here. you know, and we just took the pieces over here and
Somebody goes smack.
I'm just watching my eyelids.
Yeah,
I
there we
may
go.
have to go and check my
there's where I
drawer.
got trusted
Oh my
from.
God, this show
my
has gone
drawers,
to
check my drawers,
shit.
check my
This
Literally.
is this is what this day has become.
Ah, man. Somebody goes smack.
I'm
Oh,
just
and this is also this is also where I got this day has gone to shit from Maryland. I had to get that in.
you won't believe what's
Open
in my
your
closet.
eyes, Lamar.
They're open. I'm just checking my eyelids.
So we went to the town. We went to town with this whole thing, and you know, ended up sampling, you know, what we could. Recorded it here in OBS. Extracted the audio from it, and yeah, threw it into Serato sample. So if you look over here, it says eyelid samples. So the eyelid samples was one solid recording of all the eyelids clips to find out what we wanted to do. And I didn't use the pads on here for this one. I used the keys on the Hydrosynth. Because, you know, the pads, you only get so many. And I was like, maybe I should get a new Arteria, you know, because there's 4 banks of 16 pads. I only got 16 pads here. But yeah, so that's, and obviously Serato Sample syncs it. So we synced it up to 132, and all the pieces that I came out with.
I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not
And then
sleeping.
JRC
I'm not sleeping.
added
Watching my
his
eyelids.
sprinkles.
I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm
No,
not
they don't come
sleeping.
until
Watching
later.
my
They don't come
eyelids.
until
I'm
later.
not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids.
Yeah, so that was it. You know, pretty basic stuff as far as how we threw it together. You know, so I did the beat on here, and I did the samples through Serato Sample, and this is
I'm just watching my eyelids. I'm just watching my eyelids. I'm just watching my eyelids.
and then the other sample that we got.
This show has gone to shit.
Check my drawer.
So and the check my.
This show has gone to shit.
I'm
thought I
not
put that
sleepy.
over here.
I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. Check my drawer. 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 Check my.
Yeah, I did it before and moved them. So, yeah. Okay, here we go. It's just because I don't say that word very often, and I just never want to say it. But I respect the coffee table. Peter's coffee table is in the house. Welcome. How's it going? So, yeah. The hats, you know, came in at a specific time. The samples over here, and the other one. This is the other sample that we got, was the Simply Risky. That came from here. Let's go through it real quick. I think I have it typed out. Risky, yeah.
Simply Risky's been up for 24 hours. By the time this shit show is over, it would have been 40 hours for us up. Simply Risky's been.
So that's Simply Risky. I wanted to, because this all happened right around the time of his passing, and this was the last like direct real moment that, you know, that we shared with him. You know, I wanted to make sure, because this was a part of the night's events, and, you know, the whole resting my eyelids thing, Angie and Risky were right there the whole time going through it. And that's what made it so profound, was not only did this happen during the live stream that the Symptoms of Reality guys did over there, and that's when we met. That's when we met them. And when I broke my silence from lurking and started talking in their chat, it was right around the time of them getting started on the 24 hours. It was a couple episodes before then I jumped in, and then I was just there all the time. And from that time, Simply Risky started jumping on our channel here, and hanging out in the chat, and listening to some of the stuff that we've been doing. So it was one of those things that's just, the perfectly timed, the universe is perfectly, putting JRC and myself together, and being able to work together. And we'll get into that in a minute here. It was the perfectly timed moment. And when I spoke to Lamar, I totally, because of Risky passing, and the profound impact that he had on us personally over here, even though we didn't know him, I was kind of blown away by somebody who was so limited in our lives here, had such a profound impact because of what he was doing, about moving to the Midwest, and, our, desire to move that way, and kind of blowing it off over the past couple of years. He kind of lit a fire for us to get going. But it was just one of those things that was perfectly timed, and just along with music, the sample's perfect. I forgot to mention to Mozart, I forgot to mention to Lamar about the sample. Because I was like, yo, remember when you were saying, just watching my eyelids to make sure that they're still eyelids? I want to make something of that. I wanted to talk to him specifically about doing this song and doing it together. But almost immediately afterwards, the Team Jam opportunity arose. And I was like, this is just too perfect. The universe and its comedic timing. But because there was such an impact of what happened there, especially with Risky during that time, we had to put that in there. Especially because I had already sampled all that stuff around there, but sampling Trusto saying Simply Risky. Was it Trusto who said that? I think it was Trusto. I know, But it was just amazing during that time, and just having this, come through, and just all the timing. So we had to put this in here. My bad. I'm just kind of, still feeling it. It was December 5th, and the profound impact this guy had, and just, especially, friends of our friends and all this other stuff. So the eyelid sample, when he's singing, goes here. Okay, brass tacks here. Let's go through it. First of all, the drums. EA Ski drums. All of our drums since EA Ski been putting out drums have been EA Ski drums. So there's that. And he probably never thought about having his drums be in the techno world across the pond so clearly. And then if you guys remember, I was playing this little bit with the Mini Freak. So, and the reason why it's so low, obviously, because it's tucked. Obviously, we don't want it too loud to overshadow everything. So that was that, and then the jazzy sprinkles. So these are at the bottom. I'll get to those in a second. So we got the hi-hats, that are just coming in at the time they do, and all the stuff right here. The only difference was the Hydrosynth mixed with the Spectrovox that came at the tail end, the third act. Pretty basic stuff as far as how this thing was produced. You got very simple things. My bad, guys. You got drums, the Mini Freak, and then the Hydrosynth mixed with the Spectrovox, or plugged into the Spectrovox for the third act. That's it. So other than those four elements, you have JRC. And he just was like, okay, I'm just going to jam throughout, and I'm going to play throughout. And whatever you decide, what you decide to keep, I was like, yo, we got to keep all of it. We got to keep all of it. And then we did it, and it sounded like this.
I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm just. My eyelids. I'm just. Eyelids.
Now check out the difference here. And that's with being on this channel to where the sonics don't sound as good as they do on the back end. Wait until I disconnect this mic and show you guys what it really sounds like. But that's the difference here as far as the playing goes.
I'm just watching my eyelids. I'm just.
Show has gone to shit.
Dramatic difference. And the basics of it was just connecting to this techno sound. But then you got essentially the chorus over here.
Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping.
Well, the chorus is here.
Check my I'm not sleeping.
Sorry. The eyelids is the chorus. My bad. I had it in the wrong place. But check it out. This part
I'm
here.
not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not.
Now, his playing is great. Don't get me wrong.
I'm just.
And his theme is jazzy sprinkles. And this is great playing. But we're on a techno track. And this is fragments too. This is the same thing, same setup and everything. It's the one bar glimmers thing.
Shit.
Another thing, here. You hear that buzzing? It's a lot more noticeable this way. It's in the line. You know, it happens, you know, especially with the old
I'm just watching my eyelids. Check.
But this is where his main playing comes in at. So I didn't use on the third act over here, we didn't use the fragments. The fragments on Arturia are only for the first two parts. Once you get into the Simply Risky bit over here on the breakdown,
Check my
Shit.
simply risky, 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 simply risky.
because I wanted to put a magnifying glass to his jazz playing, you know, I didn't want to break it up, you know, and have it fragmented and all that other stuff. So let me get off this mic real quick so you guys could hear what this Sound City Studio plugins difference is, because it's a pretty good difference. Like holy crap. Let me get off of here real quick. Yeah, rest in peace, Simply Risky for sure. Okay.
Check my
Shit.
simply risky, 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 to make sure that their eyelids simply risky, 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 simply risky. Simply risky. Simply risky. Simply risky. Simply risky. I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that their eyelids. Simply risky. 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 I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that their eyelids. Simply risky. Simply risky. Simply risky. Simply risky. Simply risky.
Huge difference, right? Trustum says, "You still playing this?" Wagga wagga Trust 101. Welcome, Wagga. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Hey, little Tussin, you still out there? Is he out there? Hey, you remember Wagabutt? Let's see if you remember. I played him the video the other day. I was like, yo. He's tired. He can't remember nothing. Welcome, my friend. Okay, so Trusto, we're going over the master here. I'm going over the mix and master of this. But you could tell, though, the huge difference in JRC's playing between having that Sound City studio, even when I have this channel plugged in and you guys could hear the degraded audio, it still sounds significantly better. You know, it's subtle in the grand scheme of things, but when you listen to it up close, you're like, wow, that's like a discernible difference. Let me do it one more time.
I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids.
Huge difference. Huge difference. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, huh? Yeah, and I had no idea, you know what I mean? I know that you guys spoke about it and during the live stream you guys were talking about, his moving efforts or whatever, but until I spoke to Lamar about it, over the phone, like I didn't know the detail and everything that he'd been doing to prepare. I know it was a thing, but I just thought it was just some conversation that we've been having. But like, yeah, and it, the thing that bugs me out about the whole thing is that like just a couple nights beforehand, just a couple. I'm gonna cry right now just thinking about it, and that's crazy. I really feel for you guys, man. Just in your grieving through this, Um, I can't imagine what you guys are going through personally had shared that time with him, and we had to do it this way as far as this collaborative effort goes. We had to do it this way. Wagga, if you're still in the house, I know you favor the roads there. Our friend JRC, has blessed this track with his roads and played his little jazz sprinkles all over it. We threw the Arturia fragments on the first half of it, but when it got into the breakdown, throwing that Sound City studio on it, that plugin made all the difference. And I was already told before that it sounds representative of, that studio. And this was the first time I was able to actually use it in a project. And the way that, and out of all things to use it on, a Rhodes, is great, and it really made all the difference in the song. So, we'll be going over the master here in a minute. Let me regain my composure here. I know you guys are going through it, so I'm over here, leaking over here, But yeah, the connections that you make with people, no matter how small or how short lived. It's really a lesson in the impact that we have on other people. And for him to have such an impact in a short time period, and then through his passing, just kind of drive us and, motivate us to kind of get our shit together in that regard, and, quit planning and just do it, and, which we weren't even planning at that point. We're just like, every year we've been prevented for some reason or another, but we know what that reason is, and the time that we have taken to do what we've done. We weren't ready at the time. That's why it hasn't happened. That's why we weren't planning, because we weren't ready to plan. We were still trying to figure out our shit, and when I was talking to your brother the day after, I think it was the day after. You hear that shit? Neighbor's kid be running around here. Universe accepts no plans. And there you go. That's kind of the point here. We could only make as many plans as we can have. We can only do what we can do as far as planning. The universe dictates the terms of our conditions, and we have tried to make plans and, kind of have failed at it, but we didn't realize at the time. We're just like, why is this not working out for us? Why are we stuck here, dealing with this non-level ground, at detriment to our health? And we realized afterwards, it's because, our relationship wasn't ready. Our family wasn't ready. The stuff that's out there locally as far as other places to go, the grass ain't greener, we have a few amenities here that kind of make up for not having level ground, such as the playground right in our front yard, in the forest right here. We're not going to get this kind of view and this kind of fresh air in the ecosystem, if we move anywhere else in town. So it's kind of better. And also, we're not going to end up paying what we pay, because low income, even though it doesn't seem like low income, when we start looking at how much everything else is around here, we're like, oh shit, we are paying significantly less of what rent is out there. It wasn't like that. There wasn't that big of a difference when we first moved in here. It's just we have been here for 4 years now, and it's the longest we've lived in a place together in our 14 years of being together. And, as little Tussin's growing, he needs something more permanent, and we need something bigger, if not for anything, for him. And we've always been considerate of, the Minnesota region, especially because our family's from Minnesota, and, writing this book about my family, and dealing with all this stuff, now we're ready to go, and we just weren't as ready to go or as prepared to think about ready to go. If it weren't for Risky passing, if he didn't pass away, we still would not be having this conversation. My wife and I wouldn't be trying to make plans. We would just have stuck in the ignored conversation like we were before. So my bad. I don't mean to get on, a whole personal thing here, but, for those who don't know here, Simply Risky passed away on December 5th. and he started becoming active in the chat here on Viral Beats on like December 2nd. You know what I mean? It was like right at the beginning of the month. But the thing is, once he was in, he was in. You know, it was like right after another, you know, like the only person. And one time it was only him and Destructo, or, you know, he and I in it, you know. And I haven't even gone through the streams to catch the playback to look at our conversation. You know, I know that it was very short lived. I mean, you know, but we have spent a couple nights together here, you know, on this channel, and you know, it just sucks. You know, it just sucks to have, you know, good people, you know, exit our lives like that. But you know, it's like I was telling your brother, you know, people don't really exit their lives. They leave the impressions on you, and you know, it just sticks with you forever, you know. And yeah, you know, it's one of those things that has affected us, just because, you know, how that whole thing transpired, you know. Damn the whole thing being around my, you know, my father's shit and my own thing. I've been settling with that for, you know, 12 years or whatever. You know, this is something else we're talking here. You know, this is a friend, you know, a family member, you know, somebody who is motivated and getting things together. And it just sucks to, you know, see people get it together, you know, just to have the circumstance be what it is. But you know, we're with you guys here. You know, we really feel for you guys, and you know, I don't want to, you know, open up wounds and all that other stuff. But here we are opening old wounds, because if it weren't for Risky and all that other stuff, you know, this here too also, you know, wouldn't have happened the way that it did as far as this track. You know, this song becoming what it became is that third act. This last part here, this bit with the Simply Risky would not work without that Simply Risky sample, you know. But like, damn, man, we ain't trying to sacrifice his life for this sample, you know what I mean? But it was just the thing that made the track in its passing, you know what I mean? And it was just the biggest, the most poetic justice we could do in the short time that we got to meet, because that's all. We didn't get to know him, we just got to meet him. You know, you guys got to know him, we got to meet him, and that was it. That was all our time here, you know. But it seems like, even though it's just, you know, Trusto, you know, saying, you know, talking about Risky or whatever, going through the samples and going through the videos and seeing Risky, and like, I feel like going through this, you know, moment in this track and this stuff with you guys here on YouTube, you know, we have gotten to know him, and through getting to know him, I don't want, you know, any of his efforts to be in vain. And you know, I feel that it is our obligation, as you know, our family has already been considering the move. So, you know, whether we end up in Indiana, Ohio, or Minnesota, we'll probably end up in Minnesota, but we'll be, you know, southeast Minnesota, so we'll be close by still. You know, if that ends up happening the way that it does, who knows? Because just as Trusto said here, you know, the universe accepts no plans, and we only do what we do. But the Team Jam here, you know, this was it, you know, and this is how things were put together. It was really, really basic and really quick how things came together. But the thing that made the song were the samples, and all the green are the samples, by the way, in case you were wondering over here. So we got the, let's just go through, and we'll just do a little recap of just the sample parts, and, you know, and we'll get the visual of it.
I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleeping, watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping, watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping, watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping, watching my eyelids. I'm just 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 watching my eyelids. eyelids, eyelids, eyelids.
And I did that on the
eyelids,
keyboard over
eyelids,
here.
eyelids,
I didn't use the
eyelids,
pads. I
eyelids,
used the
eyelids,
keyboard.
eyelids,
So it was on the
eyelids,
hydrosynth.
eyelids. I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids. I'm just resting my
And that
eyelids to make sure
synced
that
to
they're
132.
eyelids. I'm
That's
just
why it
resting
sounds
my
different.
eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids. I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids.
The show has gone to shit.
That's the thing I forgot to address here with this part here, the shit part. The shit part. The shit part is also affected with the FX motions. That's why the drop goes on shit. You know, all that comes from
Shit.
Check my drawer. 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 Check my
Shit.
check my
Shit.
check my
Yeah.
check my check my
Shit.
check my
Shit.
check my
Shit.
check my check my check my
Shit.
Not to put a bunch of swearing and cussing all up in the song, but we had to do it, especially because I had to, like, you know how, like, thinking about this thing from a creative perspective, I wanted to find out how am I going to implement Trusto saying I need to go check my drawers. And literally right after that, you say the same thing. This show has gone to shit. Literally. It was so perfect. Comedic timing, so perfect. I knew I was going to use the eyelid sample. I didn't know which eyelids. So Trusto, you came in later after I showed this, but I want to show you this because this is how we sampled them here. We took them from my clips because I made a bunch of clips. And if you look at the clips here, eyelids 1, eyelids 2, eyelids 3, eyelids... Yo, the cat just went boing. You fucking spaz. So anyways, yeah, I clipped
Lamar's
them all.
falling asleep. Lamar,
I'm not falling asleep.
wake up.
I am just observing my eyelids
No.
to make sure they are eyelids.
Obviously, I didn't use that one because you never heard in the song observing my eyelids. But this was the first sample I
I
took.
suggest someone does a welfare
So-
check on the mic.
Lamar's falling asleep. Lamar,
I'm not falling asleep.
wake up.
I am just observing my eyelids
No.
to make sure they are eyelids.
Sarah suggests someone does a
Yeah, welfare check on Trusto because he took a picture of his bed. No, I think that was Lamar who took a picture of his bed, and just so he could look at it later in hopes to be reunited one day. But you went inside and he didn't come back for a while, and everybody thought that you crashed out for a minute, and then at that time, your brother was observing his eyelids to make sure that they're still eyelids. And that's where I got the last sample that we didn't use in the song that I used for my little recap over here, this one.
Viral beats. I don't even know if I have eyelids at this point.
No, you do. You keep looking at the back of them.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I went to sleep and my eyes were all the way open,
open.
wide open.
I've done
My
that.
brain just shut off.
I've done that.
So, yeah, you never know who's sampling you guys on the sly, present company included. But, you know, it was just such a perfect moment during the live stream. It was like, you know, it was great. You know, it was like, and that was kind of like when I started being more vocal, you know, in the live stream. So it was just perfect. But, you know, I was telling the chat earlier, you know, when I spoke to your brother over the phone right after Risky passing, all the stuff that came up were him passing, you know, the impact he had on us, and, you know, the course of things, but more profound than that, you know, it was the immediate reaction to everything. And we had both been kind of, you know, in our trauma bags and kind of, you know, getting through it, you know, in that regard. And you know, I know he was having a worse time than I was or whatever, but you know, it was our first conversation. You know, it was our first conversation over the phone. So of course it slipped my mind that, yo, hey, I sampled you during that time, yo, I want to use it in a track. But I didn't have to. I didn't have to because you guys did the team jams, and it was just like, yo, this is it. You know, I didn't have to dig into shit to find this. I already had it. I already had it ready to go, and I was gonna I was gonna do a song with Lamar, and I was like, yo, you want to do this? You know, I want to use that in something. I wasn't sure what we were gonna do or how we were gonna do it. I just know that I wanted to use the singing part of "I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids," just because it was so perfectly in key. And it was so great. The delivery was great. And if you weren't that tired in that moment, you probably wouldn't have delivered it like that. But I always wanted to do it. And I was thinking at first of maybe doing it as like a chorus in a song or something like that. Team Jam came up, and then JRC was like, do you got any ideas for this? And I was like, as a matter of fact, I do. There was a moment during the live stream, in the 24-hour live stream, where Lamar said, I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids. And I want to sample that. Well, I want to sample it because I still haven't put it through Serato Sample at that point. And do it up, you know, and the universe just dropped the ear, you know, and teaming up with somebody like JRC and us not having the time and availability that a lot of people did, you know, and you know, I know a lot of people had you know, had that distance between the two of them, so we weren't the exception to the rule or whatever. However, both being extremely busy in our lives and stuff like that, you know, it was perfect. And when he came through, he was like, "Oh, just take the pieces you want out of my piece that I played along through the whole thing." And then when I brought it back to him, I was like, "Look, I just took the whole pieces." And you know, we got the Arturia fragments on the first act, and you know, the second. You know, but that third act is just all him, you know, and all the discrepancies in the sound of the Rhodes, because it is a Rhodes, and going through that digitization, that was cleaned up with the Sound City Studio, and it added this nice reverb that was like this room acoustic chamber sound or whatever, that just really made that Rhodes pop in that final act. And just underneath that simply risky. So like, it was just, you know, the universe gives us these moments in music, and it was just one of these moments in music. And I was like, okay, I will not tell Mozart about this. We're just going to spring it on him. So I wish we would have had the video done and had time to do that. But as long as we had the song there, we were good to go. So let's go over the master. I'm going to kind of shut up about it first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through the song, and I'm going to pull up the plugins, and then I'm going to turn them off, so you could hear the difference of everything that I put through the master chain. And it's significant. You think this sounds dope, and it does sound dope. But yeah, you want to hear how it sounded versus how it sounds. A little bit of mastering goes a long way. And over here, let me just show you guys ahead of time and explain some of my master chain over here. This is what I've been using lately, and it's what worked out quickly for her. For here, oxide tape. This is my Desert Island tape. You know, I had no interest in Arturia's new tape thing, because this is better even than the Studer, and it's actually going dirt cheap. I felt privileged to be able to cop it for $50, and it went on sale for like, you know, $39 after that. So this is my master chain. I got this, and then I got the SSL Channel Strip 2. I've been using the SSL channel strip on my master chain for 7 years. 7 years I've been using this on my master chain. And the reason why is because it has the high pass and the low pass. It has the parametric EQ that, you know, take you through anything here. It has the dynamics over here. So you have the compressor, and that's also through the Oop, don't want to do that. All right, sorry. This fucking mouse is like it's like one of those things, so like barely doing the finger sliding through it, like it'll virtually scroll through it. So like if I have something clicked, it'll boost it up. So anyway, so yeah, so it has a limiter on it. It has the compressor. I don't think this one has it here, and it has the gate. I don't use the gate on it, and I don't use this stuff on it. And I did something else instead on here. Was it this one? Yes. What I discovered on here is that this fusion here, the stereo is great, especially on stuff like techno. It gives this stereo width to your overall mix that's just really good. And the brick wall limiter, just basic brick wall limiter, I don't do anything here. I take it down by 1 decibel, and that's it. You know, that's where my brick wall is set. Everything else is unity gain. Usually when I make beats, I make them on unity gain, but since this is an overall master, that's when I take it down, is when it goes in the overall master. That's when the brick wall goes from unity gain to -1 dB. Mozart. Welcome, my friend. We're just going over the master to this JRC collab. I just went through some of the mixing, and if you missed anything, don't worry about it. If you don't want to wait and scroll, whoops, did I miss that? If you don't want to scroll through, I thought I disconnected for a second here. If you don't want to scroll through and catch the back of the live, it doesn't matter. I'm going to clip some of this for my my mixing and mastering content, you know, for what we do over here. So you're not going to miss anything in the end. So right now, as far as things go, the you guys will get better sonics. Oh, and I put the T-Rax metering here. So I'll have these open, you know, and I'll just do that through the whole thing because I don't have to run the mixer, and I guess the meter doesn't have to matter as much. So I'll just throw it down here, and the limiter up here, and I'll do the fusion down here. And what I'm gonna do, so you guys get better sonics and get the full dynamic range here, is I'm gonna turn all of these off individually, and then I'm going to turn them all on individually, so you guys could hear sonically what it sounded like before. Oh, you ready for this one, son? All right, I'll talk to you guys on the other side. You guys won't be able to hear me, so I will not say anything. I'll let the music speak. Here we go. Poke, poke, poke. It's a little inside thing. What's up, son? All right, hold on.
I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleepy. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. Watching my eyelids. I'm just 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 resting my eyelids. sleeping, watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, watching my eyelids. I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, watching my eyelids. I'm just 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 resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids. I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids. I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids. I'm just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids.
If so has got to shed. Just resting my eyelids to make sure that they're eyelids.
Yo, yeah, rest in peace. George. Welcome. So, as you could hear, significant difference once you add the mastering. Holy shit. Like, seriously. Like, what a difference. The reason why it's so muddy when I take off the stuff there is that the oxide tape, although it has a great stereo width and everything, it does have that muddiness to it. And you got to sharpen that edge, you know, by using the EQ. That's why I always just follow up with the channel 2 EQ. Uncle Crow. We're just going through the mix and the master of the team jam over here, the JRC collab. We did a little bit of mixing earlier on the one of the songs that we're working on for the album. It's actually the closer to the album, and after that, I decided to run through this and give everybody a perspective on what the master of this sounds like, and the process of going through this song actually was from start to finish, and then I'm gonna clip this live stream, just the relevant parts to the mixing and mastering, and then put it out there as content. I haven't done that in a while, and I figured, since we were already going live for the mixing and mastering, I just attach this to it, especially being fresh on the mind and everything. And yeah, it is really, it's emotional because this whole track came out in an emotional way. Meeting you guys, meeting up with you guys, after Inky passing had just happened. You know what I mean? Like, that shit just happened, so already being there with it, as far as things go, and, with everything, and just having it in mind, us when the universe hands us a win and says, hey, you got this music, I had no idea that it would be this profound. I had no idea that obviously that Risky would pass. I had no idea that would be teamed up with JRC, just for him to add his jazz sprinkles on the end. That the two things that make this song here, it's that third act there with the Simply Risky sample. And the reason why it's purple is because that's the only sample that's not put through Serato sample. I just took that whole thing. That's the Resting My Eyelids. Sorry, my bad. Resting My Eyelids one is the purple one. The Simply Risky one is the green one on top of there to add to all the other green ones. But it's that sample there, that Simply Risky and the JRC jazz notes in the end. That's what make it. And doing justice by those jazz notes by throwing in that doing justice by those jazz notes by throwing in that Sound City Studio plugin made all the difference. And it cut out some of that hum, from the connection, and it really, really sounded great. But this is what happens, this is what happens when we lose people, because, it's like I was telling Mozart, we don't really lose people as much as they just become a part of us. A piece of them gets imprinted on us, and then the level of impressions depend on the person, but those impressions are impactful, and they are, it's devastating, but it's also devastating in a good way, What is your monitoring? Oh, yeah, that's headphones. Yeah. You like that? I got these Sennheiser. Yeah, grr. These are Sennheiser 400 HD Pros, and they are studio monitoring headphones. They came out a couple years ago, and I got them to try them, and it works out a lot better than my monitoring situation. And I got rid of my my JBLs because so for one thing, I'm in an apartment here, okay? I'm not in a recording studio. We don't own a home. We have, like for real. But, mind you, I mixed and mastered on a Sony 7506 for years. Yo, I've mastered with 280s, okay? You can do it. When people say they can master on headphones or whatever, you can do it. There's no problem with it. It just takes extra steps. You got to do extra things. You got to retrain your ear in a certain way to adjust to the headphones that you're using. Like, but there was no adjustment with these. These are okay, I'm going to say something that may be controversial here. Mastering with these on the headphones on these Sony 400 HD Pros are the same. The results as I get mastering with the Yamaha H's. I get the same results. And the reason why is because, like Sun was saying here, flat frequency, you know, but more importantly, the cushion on these things, and once your ears adjust to these headphones, even though you're not getting, I mean, you are getting the flat frequency response, but they do have a threshold. Once that mix comes out on the other end, it's so clean. And I just noticed that my mixes were coming out cleaner than monitoring on the Yamahas and the JBLs. And I couldn't believe it. Maybe it's just because I've trained my ears to fit them, but like there's a reason why they came out with these headphones. These came out after the 600 HDs. They came out as a specialty afterwards to kind of mimic the studio monitoring, to where if you're stuck in a situation to where you can't monitor, which is the situation that we're stuck in, you know, I could monitor to a certain level, but not enough to master. Not with the room noise. There's no way. It's not in this small apartment. But these shits here, it's like I'm sitting in our old house with the Yamahas. So hooray for that. You're still one of the dopest in the game. Yo. Shout out to you, son. You know, homie. Yeah, gotta learn what makes mixes translate. If you like your tracks on different playback score. Yeah, and that's the thing about it, you know. I don't say this with any ego, you know, and I hate to talk about this kind of crap, which is why I don't reflect my credentials or whatever, you know, but, you know, out of these 30 years of doing music, like making music, like as an audio engineer, I've been doing it for a little bit now too. And, you know, when I was in school, my teacher, who was a jazz saxophone player, you know, he was the first one who told me that I had sonic ears. And I was like, huh. And then I was thinking about it. My grandma would always tell me about how my dad used to, you know, discern every little bit of records that she could never even think about, you know, because he wasn't a musician. He just, you know, loved music, you know, and he'd listen to abstract stuff, you know, and be able to pick out prog records and stuff like that, and figuring out all those other stuff. Do you mono checks on your mixing? Yeah, I do. I do, for sure. And, you know, it's great, too, because I got a button here on the interface that does it, you know, for me. I just on and off. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of the A/B technique, you know, which was surprising to me that when Direct, you know, aka Native Shades, did the What Ha Happened was on the studio technique that changed everything for you. And for him, it was the A/B technique. And I was like, well, damn, that's crazy, because it's such a standard in audio production. I forgot how many people don't abide by that standard. You know, and for those who don't know, the A/B technique is pretty much you take what you have in your mix, the way that you're mixing it, and put it up against a either flat frequency response, a piece of music that you're trying to make it sound close to, or just as I did here, by shutting everything down and hear what it sounds like with nothing on it. Now, the lack of fairness when it comes to gauging that after you've already thrown in a master chain are all the volume adjustments that I made. So the reason also for the muddiness and everything like that is that I had already mixed everything. If you look at these and I take my face off of here, if you look at these faders over here and the way that I have them put up, you know, obviously if you take off the master chain and turn all these off here, you know, it's going to sound the way that it sounds with the mix being what it is because you have already adjusted all of these to fit whatever master you have put in here. Because after you run through your master chain and you start dialing in the parametrics on the knobs over here, then, you know, you go back and you make the adjustments while you're doing the master of it as well to kind of compensate for those adjustments that you make, you know. So it does sound the way that it does after taking my master chain off, but, you know, that's also not the way that they sound, or they sounded first before I made those volume adjustments. So it's accurate to the point to where it does sound sonically significantly better, but it doesn't sound like it originally sounded how we first imported the track with just me recording it into here. And I guess we would be able to do it, you know what I mean? J Welcome. Mixing and mastering now, yeah. You know, it seems to be becoming a lost art form, and for us here, when did we get the audio production technologies degree? It was done with the audio classes in 2009 and done with the piece of paper in 2011. So, and that whole time I'd been, you know, doing it in the field and you know, mixing and mastering in the field. You know, I was doing, I was acting as an artist when, you know, I was in college. So it was really, really great. It killed me when artists do not name the tracks. I'm mixing 20 aux tracks with no name. Yo, hey, I ain't shit. I'm one of those people too, man. I only did this because this is a master. I named these after the fact. I colored these after the fact. This was sloppy as shit when I was doing it. I'm one of those people. I'm terrible too. I'm bad with that. I really am, you know, and I've done it before, and I still do it to where I've had to dissect sessions, big sessions too, that, like you said, have like 20 aux tracks. So you're like aux 1, aux 2, aux 3. And you know what I've learned about the whole thing? It makes no fucking difference to me because I just listen to it by ear and take whatever I have, I poach it by ear and name it after the fact. If I need it again and need to go through all of that, I just take it and I'll be like, oh, now I'll name it. Now it's important to name. It's like a puzzle, you know. Yeah, and let me share something with you from my Studio Recording 3 class. And it's funny because I was just talking about this class the other day, so I'm getting kind of nostalgic about it. It was 2000. When did I do Studio Recording 3? It was 2011. It was the last class that I did. And it was because it only ran on the weekends, every other Saturday. So the Studio 3 class was to work with an artist. They brought artists in, and they would assign teams, partners to partner up, and then run a session from start to finish. You know, you mic up the session, you run the session in the classroom, because the classroom was a studio. You know, it was a audio production technologies degree. And it was the recording studio for the class. So it was in the music business of Glendale Community College in Arizona. You know, pretty big campus. But, you know, I was one of the fortunate ones to grow up in Phoenix, Arizona. And as much problems as there are growing up in Phoenix, one of the great things about Phoenix is the major metropolitan there through Maricopa County colleges have a great audio production program. And Glendale Community College, Paradise Valley Community College, Mesa Community College, and Scottsdale Community College all have recording studios. They all have recording studios. They all have like real big setups. But the biggest setup was Glendale Community College, because the person who was responsible for all that audio production technologies degree and everything that was in it was my direct instructor, who I also did the work study program in the electronic music lab for 2 semesters. Timothy. What's the top 3 things you look for in took from an audio college? Sorry, I was reading from a distance here. There's a lot of things that I had take away, and I'm going to do a video on this, as we're taking our break as far as content goes. I was in a unique position because, one, I was in college when I was 26, so it was 10 years after I dropped out of high school. You know what I mean? And not only that, being 26 years old, I was already somewhat established. I was working on my 3rd studio album. What gave it the thumbs up? This? Oh, because this over here. Man. Oh, I can't do it like what's his name did. Anyways, so we were kind of in a unique position, or I was in a unique position because when I was going to school, I was performing every other month at the Marquee. So it was like, 1,500 capacity. And then we were doing small club shows every weekend. Well, not every weekend, throughout the weekdays and on the weekdays. I would run live sound at this club that we ended up taking over, and it became my second shop. But I was running live sound during that time, and also working in the recording studio. I did my internship at, so I was having all those streams of revenue and all those titles. I also, was the promoter on a few things, and we were booking acts. Local acts and stuff like that. So it was a really great time for me in the audio production school, because I was in the business, you know what I mean? I was in the industry while I was going to school for audio production. I was doing the graphic design, working with my graphic design artist who now works at Strange Music. I don't know if he's still there or not, but he did during that time. He was doing the graphic, and we were going back and forth. And going back and forth in that, I was in the electronic music lab doing my work study and and as a matter of fact, the instructor from the Studio 3 class was one of the guys, that we already had associations with. And I kind of touched down on this during my live stream, some of the profound moments and the connections that we have to people in the audio production world. And it was just crazy that the recording studio I was recording at and the soundboard I was using was my instructor's old soundboard that he had given to the owner of that studio that they were friends at. Pyramix Recording Studio, that guy graduated from GCC the same way that I did. And I actually, when I was doing my internship, went down to a studio. So if I could take 3 takeaways, it's kind of skewed because I was already a working professional. But the 3 takeaways, one is that, and I already knew this ahead of time because I had 5 years in education and post-secondary education as an administrator. That's what I did for a living before I did music for a living. So I already knew that post-secondary accelerated schools were bullshit. So that was my biggest takeaway, was how much more beneficial community college is than like a Full Sail. A lot of people got ripped off with Full Sail, and Full Sail is one of those colleges that I would have never went to begin with because I already knew better, because I used to work at the Bryman School and I knew how well those things, worked out. And, it's not that they were a complete scam, but they really, took money from people in a way that they shouldn't have for a subpar education and a total lack of graduate placement assistance. And, if you guys remember a while back, they had the federal government raided the Apollo group and all the other places. Phoenix made national news because a lot of those schools, including the school that I used to work in student services and the admin department, they all got raided by the feds. So there's that too. Some people make it, like my mom and my brother made it as radiologists, and ironically enough, they graduated from Apollo out of all schools. They were lucky enough to score a real decent externship, and then my brother did my mom's same externship, so they were able to get the same deal going. So they got lucky. They were exceptions to the rule. But there was a reason why I was 26 when I went to college, because I waited to make that decision, and I didn't make the decision to go to college for audio production until coming back from tour. When I came back from tour, we came back and broke even, which was a successful tour, because if you break even or you profit, you have a successful tour. Because most tours fail like that. But we were somewhat prepared. I had a little bit of merchandise going on, and coming back, I didn't know what to do. My dad was like, "Yo, it's the same deal, for you guys. If you decide you want to go to school, you could stay here rent free." And I was like, "Man, I wish I'd known that, 6 years ago when my son was born." And it worked out, and it was a really profound experience. Second takeaway was the diversity of the people. I don't know if this is exclusive to community college. I don't think it is, because I knew some people that went to Crass, because being the spoiled bastard that I am growing up in Phoenix, it's also the same place where Conservatory Recording Arts and Sciences is located. So, but Crass is also a post-secondary accelerated learning, so no matter how many credentials they have, how many promos they put up for their 2 campuses they have, they're another one of those full sale types, But, the difference between Crass that separates the conservatory from the other post-secondary accelerated learning institutions is that they had a tremendous placement department. It was great, and people really got placed within the industry afterwards. But it was such a numbers game, a lot of people didn't. So there was a lot of disappointment, especially when they look at that bill and how much their student loans were. The cost of school, and I would say that would probably be my third takeaway, would be the cost of it. The cost of my education, even though I took out the max amount of student loans for a community college, I also got full Pell Grants because of my I was taking care of my oldest son at the time, so got full Pell Grants, and what I owed in the end for the equivalent of 2 associate's degrees, one in audio production technologies and one in music business, was $7,000. The only difference is I didn't get my music business degree because, we wrecked actually got hit in our Mustang transportation, didn't work out, and we were living too far from the school, and I had to quit doing that. But hey, I got 1 out of 2. And the only reason why I was going for music business is because there were a lot of parallels in the community college system between the audio production degree and the music business degree, to where all I needed to do was take an extra math class and a couple business classes, and then all my core classes were already covered for the audio production technology degree, and then I'd have 2 associate's degrees. But life, doesn't work out that way, and it doesn't make a difference anyway, because the piece of paper doesn't matter in the end. What matters is your skill level, and I was just fortunate enough at the timing that it was. There's no accidents in this universe when it comes down to it. It was all perfectly timed. I met a really awesome artist from Detroit. I met a really awesome artist from Connecticut, and I met a really awesome artist from Kansas City, and all 3 of them were featured on my album and had really their contributions to my album made those songs. And the amount of awesome music that I did while I was there, the people that I met with, and the people that I reconnected with. You know, already being in the music business and in the industry before then, I would run into a lot of people that were going through it at that time and just decided, just like me. I even ran into somebody that I went to junior high with. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm opening up for Tech Nine over here while I'm going to school." And the awesome thing about it too was a lot of my reports, a lot of my schoolwork was all based on stuff that I was already doing. So I already, one of my things, like my midterm, I did a project on Public Enemy. I did a project on one of my midterms was on producer, and I picked Mike Clark out of all people, just because people don't know his significance and only know his significance with the Insane Clown Posse and all that. So paper opens door, but output network and opens more. Yeah, and that's the thing. School, regardless on what you get out of it, education-wise, is a great networking opportunity. And that networking opportunity was available to me when I was in college, and it was definitely a great experience. But again, being a spoiled brat who grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, it may be a flat desert and mostly a concrete jungle when it comes down to it. That urban environment's deep, and it's great, because it's culturally diverse, and because it's so spread out and diverse and it's so large. It used to take me 2 hours to get from one side of town to the other on the bus. And I used to take that bus in order to be able to afford studio time. I decided not to have the expense of a car and decided to use that expense to make my money work for me and use it towards making music. And so what I did is I had to take the bus everywhere. And when I used to rehearse for the shows that we perform at, I used to have to take the bus clear across town to Scottsdale, 2 hours one way, so 4 hours every Sunday, when the buses wouldn't run as frequent. But I did that shit, and I did that shit for years, just to make it work and function as an independent musician in the streets of Phoenix. So, I mean, I guess that those would be my takeaways, really, the value of going to a community college versus going to a post-secondary accelerated learning institution, the value of the relationships you have and you develop while you're in school. And what was the third one? I forget. I don't know, but there you have it. Blank. So that's a lot of bus rides. Should have used insert. Yeah, and that's the thing about it, a lot of stuff. And that's the thing. I did that during the summer too. You're talking when it's 110, 120 degrees. I'd take the bus. I mean, be nice and cooled off in the bus, and that's where I spend most of my time. But I still had to go out in that heat in between places, and it was a lot more than just, riding a car or whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty much it here, folks. The mixing and mastering. That other track, it's going on the Hip Hop Undead album, the Into the Darkness track. And when you guys hear that track, it'll be for that a lot more. And boy went to Full Sail. He's an 8-time Grammy winner for mixing. Yeah, see, and there's the example right there that George is given. And that's the reason why they're still able to maintain business, because they have a placement program that also works. Direct, who founded Grind Time, who now runs Rap Grid, he went to Full Sail. A lot of those battle rap guys went to Full Sail because the generational things. I think, didn't Curtis King go to Full Sail? I don't want to speak on the man's business like that, but I think he mentioned it a few times, either that or somebody else. But yeah, there's a few people within the space who went there. My wife went to Full Sail, and they completely ripped her off. She went for graphic design, and she got full loans and everything like that. They were supposed to cover everything. And in the end, they're like, oh, by the way, I know you're going to this class, but you got to pay for this class, and you all of a sudden owe us a couple grand. So, and they wouldn't let her go back to class until she paid that balance that she was never told ahead of time that she had to pay. It was just like, you pay you pay $2,000 or you don't go to school. And it was like, well, I guess I don't go to school now. My student loans aren't enough. They're maxed out for the year. Can't do it. So she's kind of like what has happened. But yeah, I've known a few people to come out of Full Sail that that did some things. But those people that have come out of Full Sail like that, don't get it twisted. Those people are people like us. People that were already working ahead of time, people that already had things on the table. I don't want to speak on the person's business. I don't know the situation, so I sound kind of ignorant, speaking about that or whatever. It's usually the case, typically the standards. But yeah, there's a reason why they're still in business. They don't, if companies and schools were just out here ripping people off left and right, and it just kept going like that all the time, you know what I mean? They wouldn't be able to remain in business. And Full Sail has definitely expanded over the years, and they do have their shady post-secondary accelerated learning practices. But, in all fairness, they have placed a few people, and they do have credentials. But so does Crass, But I would never trade my education at a community college for Crass. You know what I mean? I would never do that, at all. Guess I should, get over here because we're done with this over here. But yeah, I'm going to clip this up for content, when it comes to this overall master of this whole thing. And then the next time you guys see the Darkness track, it'll be on one of our episodes of Hip Hop Undead, because that's going to be the closer. I'm going to dial in those snares off camera. And yeah, I'm going to do a lot more of this while we're on our break of regular streaming. But if we do get a synth or a piece of equipment or a cool plugin, we'll show it off. We'll do the standard of what we normally do for sure. But yeah, make sure you guys leave a like on the way out, subscribe if you're not, do what you can to support the channel. We got our stuff still up here and on sale on the website. I should keep that on at all times instead of having it take down. But, even my self-shill is kind of waiting, And one of the reasons why I don't, promote myself or our music as much as, we should really to kind of get the word out there is because of this album. Working on the Hip Hop Undead album, going through it. Just go to here real quick. Yeah, the Hip Hop Undead album. Yeah, look at my buses. Yeah, see, I should have got my lighting right. See, I need to just get my lighting in order for this camera, because this camera is different reacted. So, yeah, I appreciate you. And, I really was just going through a little bit of this, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these snares. The next time we're going to be going through a mix and master, it's going to be the Hip Hop Undead stuff. So, with that going, I appreciate you guys coming through, and yeah, this track hits me. This Eyelids track, it's just the universe's magic at work, I know I should put this elsewhere. Really, my bad, guys. Used to it being in my face like this. But yeah. The universe came through on this track for sure, but, it's not a fair trade. The impact this man has had on us, personally over here on this end is more than I would have ever guessed, seeing him in the chat like that. So rest in peace, Simply Risky, for whatever reason, things happen the way that they do, it has immediately sparked a few things with a few of our friends here, and we'll just keep letting his memory live on here through the music. And just when you think it's gone, here it comes. This track will be out there eventually, you know, we're going to get together and do what we did with all the other stuff and put it all together and, you know, put it in a whole cohesive project and everything. As far as schedule goes, Hip Hop Undead is the priority here, folks. So everything is towards this album. The reason why I wanted to go through this particular mix and master of the JRC collab is because of clipping it together for content, because of doing what we're doing here. But the next time we go live here, it is likely going to be for this Hip Hop Undead album. And I want to get going on these 4-hour block sessions, you know, and it's been a minute, you know, going through here. Yeah, and we're just going to keep cranking away at this album. I'll work on these snares off camera, and then we'll start chipping away at the bit. And I have a few more elements of production, and I have whole songs too that we've worked on over here that I decided to change the production to a more hip-hop thing. So I'm immediately going to get in my bag and start rapping online. I got things set up, you know, I got my rapping mic, you know, just so I could get, you know, the holding thing down, so I get used to the stage, because I am going to be getting myself a little bit more prepared for the stage in the process. And it's going to happen right away going through this. We have grandma visiting this weekend, so we'll see what comes up there. And then yeah, just keep an eye out for the space. Like I said, leave a like on your way out. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Support the channel any way that you can. And just keep an ear out, you know, because we're out here doing this. And, you know, as mixing and mastering is kind of taking a back seat to AI. And a lot of people are starting to take advantage of these plugins that do the mastering for you. And, you know, being a mixing and mastering engineer who likes to do that best more than anything, you know, maybe I'll be one of the only ones in the space doing it, you know, whatever, you know. All I know is that we're just doing it to do it because we got this album to work on. Riverside, Shout out to you, son. Shout out to everybody here. Shout out to all the new members. Thanks to Destructo's donation there. And we will get going on the content. That's one thing that we're doing this weekend, working on the membership content. We may do a sound design Saturday, you know, going on. So I'll just go through the list here. Shout out to Twin Cities Oxygen, who's now a member, Carbon Vibes, who had been a member for a minute. You know, George G's, you know, appreciate you coming through. I am the one son. You already know what it is. Data Lenny here, yeah, for sure. I gotta get going on spreading your channel around a little bit more too. Tyrone Sellers for sure. Peter and your coffee table. Wagabutt showed up here, so for sure, yeah. Trusto 101, Symptoms of Reality, which that account goes to Maryland, and Mozart 505, you know, and yeah, who else we got here? Uncle Chrome for sure. Paul, what's up? And appreciate you. Timothy, yeah, coming through. I'm just trying to get the names who haven't been here. Jay Fly mastering, and who else? There's somebody else here. You know, it's Timothy. It's a Blank. Yeah, there you go. Blank. There's the one. So that's it. That's here, folks. We'll be around. You guys will see. And yeah, appreciate and love all you guys. You know, and this is how we're starting the year. We're just going directly on the grind, from jamming to mixing and mastering to putting together this album. You know, we're doing the damn thing. And you guys may see us in the Symptoms of Reality podcast tomorrow, chatting with the Dixons, which is what they do on Saturday. It just depends on what is going on over here on this side. But if we do have an opportunity to get on stream and chat with the folks, we're going to go ahead and do that. And until then, if I don't see you guys then, you know, we'll see you guys next time. And yeah, take care, everybody. Peace, y'all.